Well, this is the second teaching of today, September the 23rd, 2023. I didn't have time to really format the blog like I wanted to. I was up all night working on the other teaching on Yom Kippur. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually be teaching from this Facebook group I have called Exposing the Beast Power. And here I put a lot of things in here about Donald Trump, because ever since March 2020, Yahuwah's been showing me that Trump is the rider on the white horse. And a lot of things that he's been showing me are starting to manifest more and more. And, I'm not prophesying anything, but based on what I know of Scripture, he's looking like the strongest candidate that I see for the little horn in Daniel's prophecy. He's looking like the strongest candidate of the man of sin, the son of perdition, on so many levels. So many of you have seen this. This is on, YouTube. I've got a video on this, so I'd recommend that you go and watch all my Trump videos. I mean, all the videos I've done on Trump are at Vimeo. They are at YouTube. They are at Rumble. And so I'm going to just kind of run through this really quick. This is from August 24th. I said, make no mistake about it, DJT is coming back with a vengeance. See, just like the real Messiah, we talked about how Yahushua, when he comes back, it's going to be the day of vengeance. Well, DJ Trump, he's going to try to imitate the real Messiah, come back on a white horse. That's why Revelation 6:2 talks about the false Messiah comes on a white horse, but he's not given many crowns. He's only given a crown. Okay, but the real Messiah, Yahushua, he's going to be given many crowns, not just one, many crowns. Okay, because he's the King of Kings and Master of Masters. Okay, and so right now what I see, and I'm just using his initials, DJT, everyone knows who I mean, has been playing the role of the poor persecuted martyr, the underdog. I believe the global elites, the Illuminati, they've been creating this narrative for a very long time. They're giving the illusion that he's the Messiah, that he's the savior of the world, that he's, the chosen one. So all these things that are going on in the news, remember, it's all a stage. The world is a stage, and these people that you see on television, they're all actors. The news media is paid big money to report what they are told to report. Most of it is fake. Like, remember when Trump said in 2020, he called them fake news? Well, it's funny. Now, all of a sudden, we're expected to believe it's not fake news when it comes to his arrests and his indictments. All of a sudden, we're expected to believe that it's real. But he already told us it was fake. So the persecution, the arrests, the indictments, they've all been scripted and staged, I believe, for many years. So I've got these blogs and videos here, the mystery behind the insurrection at the Capitol Dome. I explain what that's all about. The Illuminati have done this so that DJT can recover from a deadly wound. Now, this word, deadly wound, in Revelation chapter 13, Revelation 13 uses the Greek word sword, and it's the word makira, which that word makira means judicial punishment. Judicial punishment. So I believe that Trump may come back from this judicial punishment, the deadly wound, to his political career. I believe they even planned his birth, which, he was born on a blood red moon, total lunar eclipse, June 14th, 1946. This was exactly 700 days before Israel became a nation on May 14th, 1948. I believe the Illuminati have been planning his presidency and his ascension to power because of his pedigree, because, his family claims to belong to this bloodline called the Merovingian royal bloodline. And come to find out, Trump's uncle was working for the CIA, and they had all the technology secrets that Nikola Tesla had for time travel, supposedly. I don't know. So apparently the Trump family owns all that technology. They bought it. They own it. So that means if they have that kind of technology and they bought that technology, that means they have something that everybody in the world wants. And that means that Trump has a trump card. Like, in other words, if he owns that Nikola Tesla technology, he's holding a trump card in his hand, you know? So they've been showing us via predictive programming in many films. Here's just a few of them. The Omen 3, the final conflict from 1981 is Damien Thorn. It's about Damien Thorn, who's an Antichrist leader who becomes the president of the United States. Now, it's interesting. Damien Thorn is DT, just like Donald Trump. Same amount of letters for Damien. 6 letters, 5 letters for Thorn. 6 letters for Donald, 5 letters for Trump. I've got blogs and videos showing all the things that they told us about Donald Trump in The Omen. Also, Back to the Future films were deliberately telling us about Biff Tannen and Douglas J. Needles, who's another character, Donald J. Douglas J. Needles. You know what I mean by needles, right? The film told us that Trump was involved in the Twin Towers coming down, and he was also involved in the deadly needles. So here's the links to Back to the Future. What did Back to the Future tell us about Trump? And, I have it up on, there's a blog, and it's also up on Rumble. It's up on Vimeo. The film entitled The Devil's Advocate told us about a billionaire real estate developer and builder from Manhattan who gets away with murdering his wife because he has a high-powered attorney. Well, it's interesting. You got to go and read the whole blog because the amount of parallels they make are just incredible. They even used the Trump Tower itself to make the film. And so I talk about that in this blog called Donald Trump Predicted in Antichrist Films. Also, the films entitled The Da Vinci Code and The Boss Baby, which is a cartoon, told us about Trump's Merovingian royal bloodlines and his legacy as the one who's been chosen to build the Jerusalem temple. And I talk about that in this other blog, Trump's Merovingian royal bloodline. The video's up on Rumble. It's also up on Vimeo and YouTube. The film entitled Megamind told us the entire plot of Trump's persecution as an underdog who leaves the Oval Office defeated, but he later rises to power, back to the Oval Office. And we see in this film the Ark of the Covenant, alluding to him building the third temple. And then here's the blog and the Rumble video, Trump's Rise to Power, foretold in Megamind. And then number 6, the film entitled The Terminal, starring Tom Hanks, told us about the plot of Trump's arrest and indictments. See the blog in the video. Got the blog here in the video. All together, I've got, probably more now, but at the time when I wrote this, 39 blogs that I've written about Trump over the past 4 years. By this point, I think I have 41. But yeah, lots of blogs about Trump. And you might think I'm obsessed, but here's the thing. I'm trying to be obedient to what Yahweh told me. Back when I was born again on the night of February the 10th, 1981, I was asking the Father, why am I here? Why did you put me here? And he spoke to me and said, I want you to warn my people about the Antichrist that is coming. And at that time, I knew nothing about it. I was just pretty much illiterate in the scriptures. But after he told me that, I started to study. And so I started studying in 1981. Actually, even before that, I think I started studying in 1974 when somebody gave me the Alberto comic book series. And I was only 14 years old. But I began to learn about who the Jesuits are and the Illuminati. And this was way back in 1974 that I started studying about the Vatican and what their role is in the end time beast system. So, but, I really started to dig deep into the Bible in 1981 after becoming born again. And so trying to be obedient to what he told me that night I was first born again. So if you see me writing a lot about Trump, it's not because I'm obsessed with him. It's because I'm just trying to be obedient, okay? That's all I'm trying to do. I just don't want anybody to be deceived, especially my loved ones, okay? Now, I also want to talk about the fact that, Trump's mother, her name was Mary McLeod. She was a Scottish Jew from the tribe of Dan. Now, this is really fascinating because, see, the tribe of Dan has been prophesied about in the book of Genesis, and we'll get to that in a minute. But it's prophesied that Dan is a two-horned serpent that bites, deceives, and kills his victims. So that's pretty, when I first stumbled on that prophecy, I was just floored. But on March 21st, 2020, Yahuwah showed me that President Trump is the rider on the white horse in Revelation 6:2. When I looked up the meaning of the words in Revelation 6:2, I discovered some interesting things. It says, and I saw and behold a white horse. Okay, that word white is lukos, and lukos means light. Okay, I have to put the word horse in there. I accidentally left out the word horse, but it says a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and that word bow is the Greek word toxon. Well, toxon means poisonous bow and arrows, okay? And he's given a crown. Well, the crown in Greek is Stephanos, but the Latin word is corona, as in, the corona, the virus. And he's given this crown, and he's also given the bow, the poisoned bow and arrow, and he goes forth conquering. That word conquering in the Greek means to subdue, to enslave. So in Isaiah 14:12, the fallen angel Halel is named Lucifer in Latin, and this means light bringer. Now, this shows us that Trump is portraying the bringer of a false light, just like Satan, who is also Lucifer, who transforms himself as an angel of light. And as I've already said, the bow is the Greek word toxon, which means poisonous bow and arrows. This shows us that Trump's Operation Warp Speed was the first seal, the rider on the white horse going forth conquering, subduing, and enslaving. Now, here's the prophecy about Dan. This is from Genesis 49:16. It says, Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Genesis 49:17. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder. An adder is a two-horned serpent. I'll explain a little more as we progress. An adder in the path that bites the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. Okay, so the name Dan means judge. And I believe that Yahuwah is using Donald Trump to judge the world of idolatry, because many people are worshiping him as a savior instead of looking for the real Messiah from heaven to return. This prophecy tells us that Dan shall be a serpent by the way. And that word, by the way, is derek. Okay, the Hebrew word derek means a course of life, a mode of action. You see, this means that Donald Trump's character is that of a serpent in the way that he lives his life. The Hebrew word adder is shephiphone, which means a cerastes, or a two-horned serpent. It is also referred to as a devil-horned snake. Okay, the cerastes can have either two large ram's horns, ram-like horns, or two pair of smaller horns. The cerastes hides its head in the sand with only the two horns protruding out of the surface. This is meant to deceive other animals into thinking it's food. The cerastes also uses its horns to strike and to gore people or animals to death. The bite the venom and the consequences. And I took it from this website about the cerastes. The desert horned viper can deliver a bite that can have serious consequences. The venom, according to a report published in the Oxford Journal of, I got to be careful, I'm not going to say the rest of it, of med, has more than 13 different toxins. A witch's brew of poisons that may vary in mix by geographical location within the reptile's range. It causes conditions such as massive local swelling, acute pain, excessive bleeding, or clotting, depending on the blend of toxins, nausea, abdominal pain, sweating, exhaustion, kidney failure, and heart irregularities. The toxins could also inflict mental disorders, severe headaches, paralyzed facial muscles, and other peculiar sensations. So I took this from this website here called the Desert Horned Viper. And I just did this research pretty recently, like in the last couple of weeks. I was like shocked. I'd never heard of a cerastes. I'd never heard of a two-horned, serpent. So when I found out, and this is what it looks like. When I found this in the book of Dan, I was absolutely stunned. I was like, I can't believe that such a creature exists. And I don't know whose coat of arms this is, but it looks like the total, the 10 horns on the beast or something. I don't know whose coat of arms that is. Okay, so continuing to decipher Genesis 49:17, we learn that the Hebrew words in the path is the word arak, which means a road well-traveled, a caravan, an army, or a troop, or a race. This word speaks to the fact that Trump is like a warlike, he has this warlike demeanor that he means to harm anyone who stands in his way. The word bites in Hebrew is nashak, and it means to strike, to sting, to oppress. The word heals means to lie in wait at the rear of an army. The Hebrew word backward is akur, and it means to turn one's back toward the east, which is Jerusalem, and to turn toward the northwest. Now, that's interesting in light of what it says in Ezekiel 8, because look what it says in Ezekiel 8. It says that Ezekiel was shown all these abominations going on in the temple, okay? And it says that, he says, turn you yet again, and you shall see greater abominations that they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahuwah's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. Then said he unto me, have you seen this, O son of man? Turn you yet again, and you shall see greater abominations than these. And he brought me to the inner court of Yahuwah's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of Yahuwah, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, and their backs toward the temple of Yahuwah, and their faces toward the east, and they worshiped the sun toward the east. So that's what this word actually means. This word, akur, in this prophecy of Dan, it says that he turns backward. He turns, it actually means to turn one's back towards the east, Jerusalem, to turn towards the northwest. That's America. So this tells us that Trump will turn his back. I believe he's pretending to be a friend of Israel right now, but he will turn his back on Israel. He will send troops to attack her from the northwest, which is America, and her 10-nation confederacy. I believe right now Trump's 10-nation confederacy is starting to build up, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, so stay tuned. This is shown to us in the prophecies concerning the Battle of Armageddon in Revelation 16:16. In the film entitled Left Behind, The World at War, we can see the Antichrist leader named Nikolai Carpathia, and he's in his high-rise building in Manhattan, New York. They show the building from the outside, and it's obvious they're trying to show us the One World Trade Center. As Nikolai stands in front of the Manhattan skyline in his office, he shows President Gerald Fitzhugh a view of his new green serum that will be used to kill millions of people. President Fitzhugh is played by Louis Gossett Jr., and he's a black man. At the beginning of the film, President Fitzhugh, speaking into a tape recorder, tells us that he's the one who helped propel Nicolae Carpathia to power. I believe they were showing us President Fitzhugh is Obama. Because, see, it was an 8-year presidency of Obama that made most Americans so disgusted that we wanted to go vote for Trump, okay? And we did. I mean, I didn't want to vote for anybody, but, you know, I ended up voting for Trump in 2016. But by 2020, my eyes were wide open. I did not vote for him in 2020. By that time, my eyes were open and I knew who he was. But you see, they were telling us in these Left Behind movies that this Antichrist leader, Nicolae Carpathia, he was in his Manhattan, New York office, which is where Trump is located, right? Nicolae Carpathia even looks very similar to a young Donald Trump. It reminds me of Donald Trump's snakebite poem, which he read out loud, pretending that it was about illegal immigration. But it wasn't until March of 2020 that I realized that Trump's snakebite poem was a cryptic message he was sending out to the elites. He was telling us that he is the snake, and he's the one that bit the woman. In other words, humanity, Americans, Israelis, you know, people all over the world. He bit everyone with a deadly bite. And I talk about in this blog called President Trump's poem about the snake and the woman. It's up on YouTube. And, you know, you can go and read the whole blog there. You know, he definitely fulfills the little horn. It says in Daniel 8:23 that in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. The word fierce in Hebrew is az, meaning harsh, greedy, and rough. Daniel 7:20 says the little horn has a mouth that speaks very great things, and his look is more stout than his fellows. Well, that word stout means, it literally means thick, heavy set, fat, tall, domineering. Okay, so he fits the description of the stout. You know, he's tall, he's, you know, he's overweight, he's, you know, overbearing. He's got this domineering presence about himself. And, you know, the quantum dot patch that the WEF wants to push on us, it actually gets its technology from the rear-fanged snake. And this was developed 167 years ago. And so here's a picture of the quantum dot patch. It was developed after the design of the rear-fanged snake. And here I put a graphic in here. Nicolae Carpathia, the Antichrist leader in the Left Behind movie, he's holding up a green syringe, you know, a green serum. Look at how similar, the young Donald Trump looks to Nicolae, the guy that plays Nicolae Carpathia. And there's Trump when he was really young, and I think he was like 18 years old. He was in military school. He looks very eerily similar to a young Donald Trump. The green serum in this movie, I believe, is a hint about Trump's snake bite. And then, of course, I read this little piece here. A new study published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation has identified a snake venom-related enzyme that may be the key cause of related mortality. So I'm just skimming this blog. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's very lengthy, and I've already done a video on it, and it's up on YouTube. The name of the video is called A King of Dark Sentences. So you want to go there and look up A King of Dark Sentences. I go into a lot of detail about Trump's involvement, his role in the V. Okay. So this other graphic I made, this is very interesting. I said here, Antichrist leader Nikolai Carpathia from Left Behind, World at War, shows off his deadly green poison that kills billions of souls on Earth. And here you have the prophecy, Genesis 49:17. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder, a two-horned serpent in the path that bites the horse heels so that his rider shall fall backward. And then look at this. Look at how similar the young Trump looks, just like the actor who plays the part of Nikolai Carpathia. They look very, very strikingly similar. And then I wrote here, Donald Trump's mother, Maria Merola, was a Scottish Jew from the tribe of Dan. Trump's poem about a snake that gives a woman a deadly bite. And in the poem, he says, shut up, silly woman. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. When he first told that poem, I thought, a lot of people thought he was just, talking about, he was talking about illegal immigration. But later I figured it out, in 2020, I was like, oh, now I see what he's talking about. It became obvious he was speaking this cryptic message. Now, this is very important because a lot of people lately are talking about a possible fake assassination. Well, they're not calling it fake. I'm calling it fake. But here, this was on September 2nd. Hungary's Viktor Orban said in an interview with Tucker Carlson that Trump is the only one who can save the Western world. And here's the interview. It's on Instagram if you want to watch it. Soon we will see the dictators of the world in support of Trump, and this will give rise to the 10 horns that rule for 1 hour with the beast. Revelation 17:12-13. Now, this article says 6 dictators that Trump keeps on praising. See, he's preparing his 10 horns on the beast. 6 strong men Trump has praised and the conflicts it presents. So he has praised Rodrigo Duarte from the Philippines. They call him the Punisher. He praises Vladimir Putin from Russia. He praises Xi Jinping in China. They call him Big Daddy. Let's see. Oh, Kim Jong-un from North Korea. He praises Abdel Fattah el-Sisi from Egypt. He praises, let's see who else. Oh, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. That's the president of Turkey. They call him the Sultan. Who else? Trump loves to round up all these dictators around himself because he wants reinforcements. See, when the crap hits the fan, he's going to have all these dictators, kowtowing to him. So Revelation 13:4 says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Well, this is interesting because Hungary's Viktor Orban, his name, Viktor Orban, has a numeric value of 33. I'm going to get to that, so bear with me. Also, in this photo op, Viktor Orban is wearing an orange tie. And I thought that was awfully interesting because, they nicknamed Trump the Orange Man, right? Well, I used to think the only reason they called him that is because he wears the fake tanning stuff, makes himself look orange. But there's actually a deeper reason why Trump is called the Orange Man. So Viktor Orban is quoted as saying Trump is the man who can save the Western world. So he's touting Trump as the savior of the world. And so I did some research. I found that the word orange tie actually has a numeric value of number 33. And I believe he's wearing the orange tie to honor Trump, who's called the Orange Man. And that name, Orange Man, also adds up to 33. So we have 3 number 33s because 33 is a Freemasonic number. We've got Victor Orban, which adds up to 33. We've got Orange Tie, which adds up to 33, and Orange Man, which adds up to 33. So you got 33 plus 33 plus 33 is the sum total of 99. Now, 99 is the product of 9 times 11. I truly believe the Twin Towers came down on 9/11 because they were giving us a hint about Revelation 9/11, which is Apollyon coming up from the bottomless pit. And by the way, the Twin Towers were exactly 33 years old when they came down on 9/11. See, in the occult world, the concept of a necktie predates the early occult ceremonies in which someone being initiated into the brotherhood would have a noose placed around his neck, symbolizing his willingness to give his life for the higher purpose. In this instance, it would be Satan. The fact that Victor Orban is wearing an orange necktie, I believe, is signaling that Trump, Orange Man, is the one who will be giving up his life as a sacrifice for the higher purpose, which is the one world order of Antichrist, of course. Now, on March 30th, 1981, the Illuminati staged a fake assassination of Ronald Reagan, and that caused his approval rating to jump dramatically. 2 months later, on May 13th, 1981, they staged a fake assassination of Pope John Paul II. Now, how do I know that these were fake? Well, according to the testimony of former Jesuit Alberto Rivera, these staged assassinations were meant to bring about an ecumenical movement between evangelical Protestants and Catholics. On August 21st, 2023, Tucker Carlson made a cryptic statement about a possible Trump assassination. This will likely be used to cause the entire world to wonder after the beast. And that word wonder is the Greek word thaumazo, which means to admire. So here's 2 different videos here. Well, this one is an article from The Hill. It says Tucker Carlson, we're speeding towards a T assassination. I'm just trying to speak a little coded here. They're speeding towards a T assassination. And of course, this is C calculations of computer ASCII code. Here we go. I'm going to show you how Orange Man, there you go. See, it adds up to 33. And then Orange Tie. An orange tie adds up to 33 in Chaldean. How about, did I do Orange Man? Did I do Orange Man already? I did. Yeah. Victor Orban. Once again, 33. Okay. See, these things are not done by, these are not happenstance. These people are very high up in the Illuminati. They know what they're doing. They're actually performing, magic, black magic in everybody's face is what they're doing. And I'm trying to expose people before it's too late. I mean, I'm trying to expose Trump before it's too late and help people see, exactly who he is. Now, there's more, okay? So stay with me. Okay, let's see. Now, this is really telling because a lot of Christians think that Trump is anti-abortion, right? Well, recently, and you'll hear him saying it, he called the heartbeat bill that Ron DeSantis signed a huge mistake. In reality, Trump takes the same stand on abortion that President Ronald Reagan took, which means that he supports abortion in cases of incest and rape. So that's not a pro-life stance. And let's not forget, he's the one that launched, Operation You Know What, War Seed, right? That the ingredients in his famous snake bites, he knew that they included sacrificed, you know what? All right. I'm not going to say the word, just, he knew that what it sacrificed. And, what was sacrificed to make those. So I don't know. Can you let this be heard? Is it possible? This clip, Trump saying that it was a big mistake. What?
You'll have to unmute your audio.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's okay. You guys, I'm going to create a blog about this. How do I unmute myself here? Which one? Is
I don't know what to tell you, honey. They can't hear that.
Trump refused
you can't?
to
Okay,
support
never
a
mind.
national ban on abortion.
Yeah, I was trying to let you hear it, but it wasn't coming through. So anyway, you'll have to go and watch these yourself. I am gonna finish the blog, and you'll be able to go and watch the links. But yeah, Trump ripped by right after calling DeSantis 6-week abortion ban terrible. He's calling it terrible. DeSantis hits Donald Trump for big mistake on abortion. Governor Ron DeSantis calls Trump's abortion comment a mistake. So, they're throwing mud at each other. It's what they all do because they know that people like drama. They enjoy the drama. Let's see. What's the other thing? This is another one. Now, this is crazy because this just happened a few nights ago. This was on September 20th, 3 days ago. Donald Trump Jr.'s X account, which used to be called Twitter, was supposedly hacked. But see, something you have to understand. President Roosevelt once said, nothing in politics is done by accident. Everything they do in politics is done on purpose. Okay, so Donald Trump Jr.'s X account was hacked, and the hacker supposedly said that his father had died. So this is what it said when on Donald Trump Jr.'s account. I'm sad to announce my father, Donald Trump, has passed away. I will be running for president in 2024, the tweet said. The former president appeared to prove that he was still alive by posting an unrelated message on Truth Social later in the morning. So I think that they're trying to speak cryptically about something to do with, everyone's been talking about this assassination thing. I think they're planning something. In November of 2021, I wrote about the possibility of this happening, but it's not going to change anything because guess what? Even Trump, the little horn in Daniel's prophecy in Hebrew means little trump because a horn is a trumpet, right? Well, guess what? Little horn can also mean Trump Jr. Okay. Now watch this. I'm going to take you to Antichrist calculator and Trump Jr. Oh, Donald Trump Jr. is what I wanted. Donald Trump Jr. There you go. Adds up to 666. Even if that happened, even if Trump was killed and his son stepped in, his name would add up to 666 also, Donald Trump Jr. And then even if he goes by President Donald Trump, which of course he would take that name as his professional name, President Donald Trump, once again, 666. So it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't change anything because Trump Jr. would be doing the same thing as his father. Okay. Also, what's interesting is that in Daniel 7:8 through Daniel 8:8, it is speaking about the same character called the little horn. However, there could be another little horn that arises that is described in Daniel 8:9 after the first little horn is broken, which means killed. So what's interesting is that Don Jr. is now 45 years of age, but by January 2025, he'll be 47. If you add 4 plus 5, that equals 9. 4 plus 7 is 11. So the age of Don Trump Jr. now versus how old he would be in 2 years at the inauguration, that spells out 9/11. As of June 14th, 2023, Donald Trump Sr. is 77 years old. Now, if you add up all the digits in Donald Sr.'s 77th birthday, you get 666 as follows. So 6 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 equals 18. 18 is the product of 6 plus 6 plus 6. The Illuminati are known for doing this. They'll use the number 18 to hide the number 6 because, it's right there in plain sight. I find it interesting that Donald Sr. is now 77 and Don Jr. was born in 1977. I'm just wondering, how all these numbers play out. I'm not, trying to get too deep into all the mysticism. I'm just noticing that things that they are flashing in our faces. Also, Don Jr. was born on New Year's Eve, which is when the heathens celebrate Janus, the pagan deity of the past and of the future. Janus has 2 faces, one facing the past and the other facing the future. Could it be that the older Trump is in the past while the younger Trump is in the future? I don't know. Trump Sr. was born under the zodiac sign of Gemini, the twins, which makes me think there could be twin Trumps in the Oval Office. Is that possible? I don't know. To have Trump and his son as his running mate, that's also possible too. But there's all these cryptic things going on, and I haven't, figured it all out yet. I'm just throwing stuff out there and saying, this is a possibility. Just asking you guys to keep your eyes peeled. And so, that's what I've got so far on what's been going on with the Trump, scare, the assassination scare. Everybody's talking about it. This right here is a parade float of Trump from 2019 at a Tuscany, Italy parade. Now, this is also interesting. Many leaders from around the world are calling on Donald Trump to step in and save the world. Here it is. Zelensky, this is from 3 days ago. Zelensky calls on Trump to release his Ukraine peace plan now. Okay, everybody thought he was just going to disappear after these indictments. Nope, he's stronger than ever. And then, look, we've already said this, Viktor Orban, Trump can save all of humanity. This is what he said to Tucker Carlson, that Trump can save all of humanity. Now, these are the world leaders who are calling on Trump right now to save the world. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, Vladimir Zelensky, President of the Ukraine, President Vladimir Putin of Russia, Xi Jinping, China, Kim Jong-un, Korea, Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-un, North Korea, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Egypt, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, that's Turkey, Bibi Netanyahu, Israel, yeah. And then, of course, there's Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So there are many, many occult symbols on this image, this parade float of Trump. First, you're going to see on the right shoulder, there's a communist symbol of the hammer and the sickle, and then there's the hero. So I'm going to help you guys see this. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Yeah, it's very loud. The music on this is very loud, but it's quite revealing. There's the, on the left shoulder, if you look at the picture, you can see the double-headed eagle of the Roman Empire. You can see on the breastplate the mystical bird called the phoenix that is reincarnated and rises from the ashes. This is a hint about the election fraud investigations that are being conducted in Phoenix, Arizona. On the left knee of this image, you can see the head of the Statue of Liberty, which is the pagan deity known as Apollyon from Revelation 9:11. In Hebrew, he is called a bad dawn. The song that is being played in the background as they're displaying this parade float is called Careless Rex by this Swedish rock band called Sabaton. Now, the name Careless is the Swedish variant for the name Charlemagne. Charlemagne became a pope of the Holy Roman Empire in the year 800, the Common Era. The lyrics are quite revealing. It says, "All embrace me. It's my time to rule at last." It says, 15 years I've been waiting to sit upon my throne. No allegiance I will swear, no oath. Crowned by God, not by the church, as my power is divine. They thought I was too young to rule the land, just as they failed to understand. Born to rule, my time has come. And then the chorus is like, I was chosen by heaven. Say my name when you pray. To the skies, see careless rise. With the Lord my protector, make them bow to my will. To the skies, see careless rise. You know, it's really interesting. It just hit me. But Pope John Paul's real name is Carol. Pope John Paul's real name was Carol. And there's a connection between Trump and Pope John Paul. Because, see, remember I was telling you about the Merovingian royal bloodline? Well, Pope John Paul II comes from that same Merovingian royal bloodline. And this is why Trump tweets on his Twitter account all the time about Pope John Paul. Let me see if I can find out what it was. Carol. His real name was Carol. Pope John Paul II, Carol. It's a very difficult name to pronounce. It's like Carol Wojcika or some crazy. Yeah, he's Polish. Yeah. Here it is. Carol. His real name was Carol Wojtyla. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But yeah. So I'm wondering, if there's something related to, the careless rise thing has to do with, there's a lot of Catholics that are saying that they're going to try to bring Trump or, Pope John Paul back from the dead because they've got his body frozen, cryogenically frozen. They've been praying for Pope John Paul to come back from the dead for years. I think there's a possibility they're going to fake a resurrection. And, maybe just like when Reagan, they faked Reagan's assassination and then they also faked Pope John Paul's assassination. Maybe it'll happen again where, they'll fake Trump's assassination and they'll somehow have a clone of Pope John Paul and they'll make it look like both of them were resurrected together at the same time. There's so many possibilities. I mean, there's just a lot of crazy things going on right now with everybody talking about his assassination, his own son, with his account being hacked. A lot of crazy things are going to start happening. We just got to keep our eyes peeled. And, that's just what I have, that's happened this past week. Just sharing some updates, some current events. Let me go also to this other blog I wrote called "Will There Be Two Little Horns?" Will there be two little horns? Okay. Will there be two little horns? Okay. So, will there be two little horns? Well, you see, in 2019, Newsweek printed an article about Donald Trump Jr. possibly running for president in 2024, and the likelihood of him winning would be very high. And Daniel's prophecy, the term little horn in Hebrew is keren ze'er, which means Trump brought low, or it can also mean little Trump or Trump Jr. So, after the 2020 presidential election, Trump was brought low. He became the laughing stock, the scorn of many. So you have to understand that these people in the Illuminati, they perform what's called a humiliation ritual on purpose. They believe that if they are humiliated in front of the public, that they endure all this, persecution and humiliation, and there's no place to go but up again, so it's like like the biblical principle that our Messiah said, whoever wants to be great in the kingdom, let him become the least. Let him become the servant of all. Whoever would become great in the kingdom, let him, humble himself. So these people enjoy purposely doing these humiliation rituals, making themselves look like the underdog because they know that's going to garner more attention for them. So you'll see Trump's son, he and his son doing the Freemasonic handshake. I'm going to show it to you in a minute here. Look at this. The name of this handshake is called the Boaz. It's the grip of an entered apprentice. The grip of an entered apprentice is made by pressing the thumb against the top of the first knuckle joint of the fellow mason. The fellow mason also presses his thumb against the first mason's knuckle. Okay, now take a look. You can see that's what. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It is. It's the same thing. They're doing the same thing. And it's definitely the same thing. I know, but see, it's all about perspective. I know the picture doesn't look like it, but that is definitely what they're doing. Telling you, I've examined a lot of Freemasonic handshakes. This is an awkward handshake. Nobody does this in real life. Nobody does a handshake like that in real life. So when we read that this little horn becomes great again after suffering a deadly wound, Revelation 13:3-4, this could mean a literal wound via assassination and a subsequent false resurrection. Or it can mean his political deadly wound will be healed merely by his coming back after his political career appeared to be dead. Now, there's two possibilities. Either Donald Trump Sr. will return in 2024 or his son Donald Jr. could run, making him the second little horn in Daniel 8:8-9. Either way, it will not change a thing, because they both have the 666 moniker attached to their names in Roman gematria, as well as computer ASCII code. So as I've already shown you, President Donald Trump brings a result of 666. Donald Trump Jr. also brings a result of 666. Okay, what are the chances of that? President Donald Trump equals 666. So if Junior makes it into office, it won't change anything. In Daniel 7:8 through Daniel 7:8, it is speaking about the same little horn. However, there could be another little horn that arises as described in Daniel 8:9 after the first little horn is broken or killed. So, in Daniel 7:4, the first horn was like a lion and had eagle's wings. And it says, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. So the explanation is that the lion is Great Britain and America is the two eagle's wings on this beast. After the Revolutionary War, America's two eagle's wings were plucked away from the lion, Great Britain. See this graphic here. The lion with eagle's wings plucked. Great Britain. United States. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. Daniel 7:4. Okay. The two eagle's wings were then made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. This is describing the little horn, who many call the Antichrist or the anti-Messiah. Daniel 7:5 says, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Explanation. The bear is Russia, and the 3 ribs in its mouth are Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. These are still under the strong influence, if not domination, of Russia. Daniel 7:6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The fowl, the beast also has 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Here's the explanation. The leopard is Nazi Germany under 3 previous Reichs. 3 previous kingdoms and will continue again as the Fourth Reich, which I believe will be in America. The term Third Reich was coined by Arthur Moller van den Broek in his 1923 book, Das Dritte Reich. He defined the Holy Roman Empire between 800 and 1806 as the First Reich, and the German Empire between 1871 and 1918 as the Second Reich, while the Third Reich was an ideal state including all German peoples, including Austria. In the modern text, the term refers to Nazi Germany. It was used by the Nazis to legitimize their regime as a successor state to retroactively renamed First and Second Reichs. The term Fourth Reich has been used in a variety of different ways. Neo-Nazis have used it to describe their envisioned revival of an ethically pure state, mostly in reference to, but not limited to, Nazi Germany. Now, I believe that the Fourth Reich is America, which has now spearheaded the supposedly genetically pure race of the Nephilim via the snake bites, Trump's snake bites. In Daniel 7:7, it says, "And after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast." That would be the Fourth Reich of the Roman Empire. America, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse. You see, America is known for diversity, right? A melting pot. So from all the beasts or all the empires that were before it, it had 10 horns. You see, America is a carbon copy of Rome. The U.S. Capitol building and the Washington Monument are built to resemble the Vatican City. In these latter days, America is a continuation of the Holy Roman Empire, the Fourth Reich of Nazi Germany. In Daniel 7:8, it says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like a man, and a mouth speaking great things. So here's the explanation. The fourth beast into Daniel's future was the Roman Empire. The 10 horns on this beast are the European nations that comprised the Holy Roman Empire. Another little horn is America, who comes up after the defeat of these 3 horns, which are England, Italy, and Germany. You see, America defeated Great Britain in the Revolutionary War. America defeated Italy and Germany. Hitler and Mussolini in World War II. America plucked up 3 of these European horns. Even though these nations still exist, they no longer were part of Hitler's Third Reich of the Holy Roman Empire. Instead, they became part of the G7 nations. See, in Daniel 7:23, it says, "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, the Fourth Reich of Rome, which shall be diverse. America is a nation of diversity from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces." Did you know that America has 300 military bases all around the world? No other country has that many military bases. America is a military machine. No, I said it was. Oh, it's 800? Okay, my husband corrected me. It was 800. Yeah, I thought it was 300. But he's right. That's now that he says it, I remember. So Daniel 7:24, "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, which is America, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings or nations." See, the little horn is America, headed by an American president who speaks great words and blasphemies against the Most High. In other words, he is boastful, he is arrogant, he is brash, he is bold. You see, Trump tweeted back in 2019, calling himself the King of Israel, calling himself the second coming of God, calling himself the Messiah and the chosen one. this American president will enforce the Talmudic Noahide laws of Judaism, as well as the Sunday Sabbath law of the Roman papacy. See, the Noahide laws of Judaism and the Sunday Sabbath law will work in tandem. They'll tell the Christians that they have to keep Sunday holy and that the Jews have to keep the seventh-day Sabbath. But they'll tell the Christians they're not allowed to keep the seventh day holy because they're Christians. The only way they're allowed to keep the seventh day holy is if they convert to Judaism. And I believe that Trump is going to enforce this, okay? In this way, he shall think to change times and laws, thus making it unlawful for believers in Messiah to keep the Sabbath and the holy feasts. In Daniel 7:25, it says, he shall speak great words against the Most High, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and shall think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until times and the dividing of time. See, in Daniel chapter 8, the he-goat was Alexander the Great in the past, whose empire was divided after he died to his 4 generals. His 4 generals were Antigonus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. These generals were known as the Diadochi, meaning successors. And Alexander's empire was divided among the 4 of them. In modern times, however, the he-goat is Trump, and he possesses the military prowess of Alexander the Great. Trump defeated ISIS, and thus the ram, which is the Islamic State Caliphate, was severely crippled. Trump had Soleimani, assassinated. In fact, we just got done watching a podcast the other night, and this guy that my husband likes to watch sometimes, he was postulating about the idea that, Biden just donated like 6 billion American tax dollars to this Iranian, what is it? I think it's the Iranian president or something, Iranian, I forget what he's called, but, some Iranian leader. And he's basically saying, we're going to get even for the death of Soleimani. We're going to find these people who killed him, and we're going to assassinate him. So we know it was Trump that had Soleimani killed. So it'd be interesting if they use this Iranian leader to have Trump, killed. But I think it's just going to be fake. I think the whole thing is just it's like a psychological operation. I think they're planning this on purpose, and they're going to make it look like he's resurrected. Maybe there's going to be a clone of Trump. Who knows? So after Trump defeated the Islamic Caliphate, the U.S. brokered agreements that established or reestablished diplomatic and economic relations between Israel and 4 Muslim nations, which are the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco. The Abraham Accords have been cited as Trump's main diplomatic achievement. In Daniel 8:8, it speaks about the he-goat that waxes very great, and when he is strong, the great horn is broken, and for it comes up 4 notable ones. Now, this is, an artist depiction. You've got the ram, which represents Media and Persia, and you've got the he-goat with the one horn that represents America. America is the he-goat that comes from the West, from the West. And this all started in the 1980s with the Bush Senior and Bush Jr. They started the Middle East wars, and slowly but surely the he-goat, which is America, has been defeating the ram, which is Media and Persia. And why do they care to defeat the Middle East? Because, you see, these guys are all part of the Illuminati. They're a part of the Zionist agenda to build the 3rd temple in Jerusalem. And the reason they want to build the temple is because they want to seat their false Messiah there. Well, they can't get that temple built unless they cripple the Middle East severely. Because you know that Iran's not going to let them build the temple. You know that all these Middle Eastern countries aren't going to let it happen. So this all started back in the, Desert Storm and the Iraq War and, the Afghanistan War. This all started with the Bushes, and Trump kind of finished what they started. So after Trump defeated the Islamic Caliphate, the U.S. brokered agreements that established, I already said all that, sorry. Okay. I believe it's possible America will be divided pretty soon into 4 nations. Here's an article called How America Fractioned into 4 Parts. It's an article from August of 2021. It talks about how the country is fractured into 4 parts. There's rumors that America will be divided into 4 countries. The officially recognized 4 regions of the United States. Okay, here's the officially recognized 4 regions and 9 divisions of the United States. You've got the West, which are all these blue states here. You got the Midwest is the green. The South would be Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana. And then you've got the Northeast, which is Middle Atlantic, New England. So, this is a possibility that America could be divided into 4 regions. Now, suddenly in Daniel 8:9, out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. That's Israel, right? Now, after America is divided into 4 nations, out of one of those 4 regions shall arise a little horn. In other words, a little Trump. Now, will it be Donald Trump Sr. or Jr.? Well, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, though, because President Donald Trump, has a numeric value of 666. So it doesn't really matter whether it's senior or junior. But what has developed recently is with Donald Trump's Jr.'s X account, which is formerly called Twitter, supposedly got hacked. I don't believe that it really got hacked. I think that this is all a big psychological operation. These people are really big into magic and psyops, and they speak cryptically. I'm not quite sure what they're trying to say, but, President Roosevelt once said, in politics, nothing happens by accident. And he says, if it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. Here it is. Here's his quote. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. How do you say his middle name? Franklin Delano Roosevelt. That's right. In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. Everything's planned. Everything is scripted. See, the elites believe they must reveal their diabolical plans to the public in such a way that it can be easily debunked. And by doing it this way, the average person, the average sheeple, will just brush it off as hearsay, while the more discerning and spiritual person, recognizing this is a psychological operation. But the person who recognizes it as a psychological operation is going to be treated as a conspiracy theorist and a whack job, right? So this is what Donald Trump Jr. claims was on his wall on his Twitter wall or his X wall. He says, I'm sad to announce my father, Donald Trump, has passed away. I will be running for president in 2024. The tweet said the former president appeared to prove that he was still alive by posting an unrelated message on Truth Social later in the morning. Okay. Other tweets said, F Joe Biden, used a racial epithet, said North Korea is about to get smoked, and when I become president, I'm going to burn the SEC. I'm not really sure what SEC stands for. Okay, so, they're telling us some cryptic things. And so this is a possibility. It is a possibility. Now, what's interesting is that this happened on September 20th, 2023. Don Jr. is now 45 years of age, but by 2025, he'll be 47. since his date of birth is December 31st, 1977. Also, as of June 14th, 2023, Donald Sr. is 77 years old. If you add up the digits in Donald Sr.'s 77th birthday, you get 6 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 equals 18. Okay, this is the sum. 18 is the sum of 6 plus 6 plus 6. Now, what are the chances that Donald Sr. is now 77 and Donald Jr. was born in 77? I mean, there's things happening at this time in history that make me wonder, what are the coincidences that they're trying to... They're very famous in the Freemasons for using numbers and numerology and black magic. Another thing is that Don Jr. was born on New Year's Eve, which is when the heathens celebrate Janus, the pagan deity of the past and the future. Janus has two faces, one facing the past and the other facing the future. Could it be that, the older Donald Trump is in the past, facing the past, while the younger Trump is in the future? I don't know. See, Trump Sr. was born under the zodiac sign of Gemini, the twins, which makes me think maybe there could be twin Trumps in the Oval Office. Now, I'm going to speculate here. This is a possibility. I'm not prophesying. I'm just throwing it out there as, a possible scenario. So what if Donald Trump Sr. chooses his son, Don Jr., as his vice president running mate? And then what if Donald Trump Sr. does get assassinated, which I don't think it would be real anyway. I think it would be a fake. And then number 3, Donald Trump Jr. makes an AI image of his father and forces people to worship his dad's image. See, that would certainly fit the narrative of, I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke as a dragon. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he deceives them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Now, as I've already said, this word sword is the Greek word makira, and it means judicial punishment. Well, if Trump recovers from all his indictments, in other words, judicial punishment, or if he goes to jail and then gets out of jail, sort of like, Adolf Hitler, who went to jail for 9 months before rising to power. And we know that Trump reads Adolf Hitler's speeches. I mean, his ex-wife, Ivana Trump, said that he used to read Adolf Hitler's speeches before he went to bed at night. And so, there's a lot of similarities here with Trump and Hitler. And it says in Revelation 13:15, he had power to give life unto the image, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, in keeping with that whole thing about the image, I'm going to show you this this image that they displayed in Italy, Tuscany, Italy parade, and it was a huge, colossal image of Trump, and you've got on his knee, the Statue of Liberty, which is really Apollyon. Everybody calls it Lady Liberty, but it's not a lady. It's actually supposed to be Helios or Apollo in ancient mythology. He's got the phoenix on his breastplate because the phoenix is like this mystical bird who dies and then he resurrects and comes up from the ashes.
An eagle too, like the right.
Yeah, and then of course over here you got the 2 eagles that represent the Holy Roman Empire. Now you can't see it from this angle, but there is an image of Caesar. This sword says Dazi Vostri, which that means, our taxes or something to do with taxes. So here we go. I'm going to show you another, trying to find the the other image here. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty crazy that and when they're, displaying this at the parade, they're singing this song, Careless Rise, which makes me wonder, are they also talking about, Pope John Paul II? Because there's been rumors about bringing Pope John Paul back from the dead also. Lots of people are saying, his body is, cryogenically frozen. Are they planning to bring him back? I don't know. There's so many possibilities, and I'm just throwing things out there as, who knows, maybe. But obviously some crazy things are going on with all these. Now, here's the other bombshell. Zelensky just asked, guess what? Marina Abramovich to be the ambassador for the Ukraine. Can you believe this? This was just yesterday. The spirit cooking witch. Absolutely horrendous. Crazy. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. Okay? Now there's some more stuff I'd like to show you about. Find it here. I am, honey. I am. So, let's see. So there's this video right here by Sling and Stones talking about building of the third temple has already begun. Now, they're not out in the open building it, but they're preparing the materials. They're preparing the quarries, the stones, I should say. Now, this is really groundbreaking right here. Mahmoud Abbas softens demands on Israel, paving the way for Saudi peace deal. Okay. See, Trump signed the Abraham Accords with the Saudis in 2020. And now the crown prince of Saudi Arabia is making headway with Mahmoud Abbas, who's all along opposed the peace deal with Israel. But now he's softening up about it. See, this is all paving the way for Israel to build the temple. That's what's going on here. Now, this video right here, the Crown Prince, Saudi Arabia, he is going to be involved with Trump, and all these nations are going to come together and help build the third temple. In fact, it even talks about this in Scripture. Let me find the Scripture for you. It talks about the craftsmen, the four carpenters, right? Carpenters. Carpenters. Okay. So in Zechariah chapter 1, it talks about the four carpenters. And what it says about these four carpenters is that these four carpenters are the notable horns, these four notable horns, that these horns in the past have scattered Judah and Israel and Jerusalem. In other words, it says that these horns have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. They persecuted Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. But now what's going to happen in these last days, these nations that scattered Israel, Judah, and Jerusalem are going to come together and be the carpenters to help build the temple. They're actually going to help fund it, right? Because, see, they want their hands in it so that they can control it. But the Israeli, the Zionists, they want that anyway because they want to control the temple with the false Messiah. So this is all happening right now. The temple in Jerusalem is about to get built. And it's extremely interesting what's going on. All the nations of the earth are coming together, and they're finally going to give their agreement. They're finally going to give their agreement to let the temple be built, whereas before they were fiercely opposed to it. And so, crazy stuff going on. Just keep your eyes peeled, everybody. I believe that in the next year or so, we could see the temple built. And who knows, we could see Trump rise back to power. Maybe he'll get, I don't know, maybe he'll get, the Simpsons cartoon showed Trump in a casket. I don't know how that's really going to play out. But, back in the year 2000, the United States Congress minted a coin with Pope John Paul's image on it. And, I learned that they faked his assassination. And also President Reagan, they faked his assassination too. I learned this from Alberto, who was a Jesuit priest at one time, Alberto Rivera. And he said that when he was at the Vatican, that he was briefed about the plans that the Vatican had to bring all the world together under the one world religion of the anti-Messiah. And so this is Alberto. He used to be a Jesuit in the 1970s, and he became born again. He went to all these publications and told his story. They finally ended up assassinating him in 1997. But he talked about the fact that he knew when he was a Jesuit that the assassination of Reagan, and the assassination of Pope John Paul, that they were strategically planned so that these two guys would become good friends. And you know what they did, these two? Reagan and Pope John Paul went on the radio and were giving Mother Mary the credit for saving them from these fake assassinations. See, they did this on purpose to push the whole Mary worship narrative. Here it is. The untold story of John Paul II and Ronald Reagan. Mary is central. Okay. So they planned all this so that America would become a Roman Catholic nation. Okay. So yeah, I have a feeling they're going to do the same thing with Trump. I have a feeling they're going to fake his assassination the same way they did with Reagan. And, there seems to be this strange connection with Trump and Pope John Paul because they're both supposed to be from the same Merovingian royal bloodline. Trump dedicated this image to Pope John Paul back in June of 2020. Also, it was Pope John Paul's 100th birthday back in 2020, and Trump tweeted, "Happy birthday to Saint Pope John Paul II," like as if he's still alive or something. This was back in, 2020 also. And then look at this. This was an executive order that Trump signed on June 3rd, 2020. It's called the U.S. Embassy to the Holy See at the Vatican. President Trump's executive order on advancing international religious freedoms. Now, you can read the whole thing, but I'm going to try to give it to you in a nutshell. Basically, what this Religious Freedom Act is all about, it's not giving us religious freedoms. It's basically saying you're not allowed to talk about any of these religions. You're not allowed to speak out against Hinduism. You're not allowed to speak out against Islam or any of the religions of the world. And in fact, you could be charged with a hate crime if you speak out against these other religions. You could be charged with a hate crime if you say that Yahushua or Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and that no man comes to the Father except by him. You could be charged with a hate crime. So President Trump's executive order was signed on June 3rd, 2020, and the same day that he did that, he dedicated the statue to Pope John Paul. You see, it's all coming together. The one world religion of the false Messiah. And, it's coming at us like a freight train. So that really concludes all that I have for today about what's going on the world stage with Trump. I'd like to ask if you guys have any questions or comments.
Anybody else? Mark in the chat? The chat's been a little bit off the chain, so that's cool. All right, hold on. Go ahead, Michael. Now we can hear you.
Right. Plus, I have the other one about will there be two little horns, where I speculate This was from 2 years ago that I wrote this one, and the only reason I even brought it out today is because of what Donald Trump Jr. just said a couple days ago, where he claims that his Twitter account was hacked, and the hacker said, "My dad is dead." I'm like, these people are just, they're just, sending out cryptic messages, Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have another video on that. I didn't really go into too much detail because I already have a video that I did on it. It's called A King of Dark Sentences. So this is the one you want to go watch about where I talk about the patch, and So yeah, I just kind of touched on it, but yeah, you want to go watch that one. But yeah, this is crazy that Donald Trump and his son are doing this crazy handshake. I mean, who shakes hands like that? That's so awkward, I mean, yeah, they don't. I mean, the artist depiction, it looks like the hand is all twisted, but yeah, it doesn't have to be exact. It's just the way they're positioning the thumb and everything. It's obvious that that's the Boaz. I've seen so many variations of it, so many versions of it. Ever since I saw that article about Josephus, who said that the year, let me see, it's my Jubilee calendar, my Jubilee article. Yeah, I've been thinking that, 2028 could very well be, and I'm not prophesying, I'm just saying based on what Josephus said about the year 23 BC being a Jubilee, and then adding 50 years to that brings us to 27 when Messiah would have begun his ministry. Based on that, and I created this chart here of when the Messiah was born, the Julian year, the Gregorian year, and then by the time he was 30 years old, which was 27 AD according to the Julian calendar, but on the Gregorian calendar it would have been 28 because Pope Gregory changed the calendar dates. But this was the year 4000. Okay, so he was 30 years old, eligible for priesthood, and so all you got to do is add 2,000 more years to this, and that takes us to 2027. That's 2,000 more years, which is 40 more jubilees. I think we're getting pretty close. I really do. I think it's super, super close, So that means that the temple has to get built very soon, in the next year or two at the most. I think by next year it's going to be up. And, yep. So, yeah, terrible stuff, but exciting at the same time, because soon and very soon we will see the King, Yahushua. So, yep.
Yep.
I don't know. We're gonna have to band together as believers, and I wish there was a way we could go live on some remote island together, like Gilligan's Island or something.
Yes.
That would be...
That's funny.
Yeah, I wish we could go... we'd have to get rid of our phones because they'd be able to track us with cell phones, on Google Earth. We'd have to get rid of cell phones. We'd have to go live on some remote island and grow our own food and live in some remote community. Wish there was a place we could go, and do that. But...
Now, there have been some recent information on on countries that are pushing back from some of the digital dollars that are going around. Some companies have walked away and said, we're not doing it. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. Doesn't mean they're still not going to do it eventually, but at least for the time being, it appears to be that there are some problems with some of the adopters not liking it. So maybe that will make just a little bit of a way, even though it'll be extremely difficult. There'll be some small, holes through that paywall, that there will be a remnant that can sort of exist, or I don't know.
Yep. Yahuwah help us all.
Yep. I did put a list of a link in the YouTube chat and in the Zoom chat about, it was specifically about how to help your eyes nutritionally, which includes herbs that boost stem cell production naturally. So that's why I did that, for those who are talking about stem cells.
Yep. Well, if anybody have comments or questions, I've been actually awake since yesterday afternoon at 2 p.m. So.
But when she gets going, like I said, that those handkerchiefs just keep coming out of that pocket.
Yeah, it's been like, let's see, how long? 24 plus 5. I've been awake for almost 30 hours. So I know I'm going to be tired. I'm going to crash hard when I do crash. Which
will be about 30 seconds after we end tonight.
Yeah. So. Well, I'm not nodding off. You know why? Because when you're fasting, you don't get that blood sugar crash thing going on.
You're also excited about the topic, so.
Yeah.
All right, but I will be the one to call it. If anyone else has any comments or questions, please speak now.
All right, well, let's just close, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this long. And may Yahuwah be with you guys. Father Yahuwah, we love you. We praise you. We worship you. We glorify your name. We ask you in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach to open the eyes of people's understanding. Deliver your people from deception in these last days. Strengthen us so that we love not our lives even unto death. Let us not be overtaken by the thief in the night when you come back, Yahushua. Let us not be deceived by the false Messiah. Let us not be deceived. Let us be, bold warriors for you as we endure unto the end. You command us to endure unto the end. Help us to endure until the end, Father. And we ask in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach that you provide for us financially, that when hard times come, when difficult times come, when the tribulation comes, that we will not be starving, our children will not be starving, that you will make a way for us, that you will make a way where there is no way, just like you did for Israel when they were in the wilderness, that you provide for us, Father, that you send us manna from heaven. Take care of us in the meantime until you come back. Use us to preach the gospel of the kingdom and use us to win many souls in this end time harvest. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father Yahuwah. Thank you, Father. We love you. We praise you. We worship you. Thank you, Yahushua HaMashiach. We love you so much. I ask you to speak to everyone listening and give us all prophetic dreams and visions when we sleep. Just speak to us, Father. Speak to us about what we need to know. Protect us. Keep our loved ones safe. Keep our loved ones from being deceived by the spirit of anti-Messiah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father. Amen and amen. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love you so much. Thank you for staying with us for so long.
All right. Shabbat shalom, guys.